Welcome to the TCR Show 2011. It is quite remarkable how quickly a year goes, and we're back here again this year. I'm joined by the very lovely Helen Jenkins. I always want to say Tucker, but you're now Jenkins, and looking really well, very bronzed and very fit.
Oh, thank you. I've just come back from a training camp in Lanzarote, so I've been getting a bit of warm weather training in, and just getting ready for the season. It's kind of getting to that time of year where you just want to start racing though. You've done the winter miles and you kind of just want to start doing the hard stuff now.
Well, last time we saw you was in Mexico for the last World Cup of the season, so obviously you haven't raced since then, have you?
No, I haven't raced since then, so it's going to be starting soon. I'm going to do a race in Florida, which is a sprint race, but it is a points race, and then on to my first race in Sydney then, which is the start of the World Champ Series.
Yeah, because you've quite often started your season with training in Australia, but this year you've spent a bit more time at home through the winter.
Yeah, and last year as well, just been going back and forward to Lanzarote and home, and I really enjoy that. When I'm at home I get a really good swim focus and run focus, and then I'll switch to Lanzarote and do some more cycling, so that's worked really well for the past 2 years, so I think that's probably the way we'll go forward, and then head out to Australia for the start of the race season.
And Sydney, what does Sydney look like at the moment? Because obviously this year is such an important year for triathletes, for the kind of the top guys who are all going for the Olympic places. So have you had a look at the start list or any chance to see what the race is going to look like?
I think every World Champ Series is stacked. You know, there's always really, really good athletes there. And my main focus this year, as most of the British athletes, I think, will be the Hyde Park and Beijing World Champ Series races, because they are part of our Olympic selection. But, I don't tend to start the season brilliantly and normally get better as I go along. So Sydney, I'll be going there just to start getting the racing in, and I hope it goes well. But I'm just really focusing on the later part of the season.
So is there anything different you've done this season compared to what you've done other seasons in regards to your training?
Well, I've increased my run training a bit through the winter. I've tried to maintain my swimming and biking to keep it at the same level, and I think the Olympic gold medal will be won by a strong all-round athlete, but I think it'll probably be won overall by the run. So I'm trying to move my running on a little bit, but at the same time being careful and not to get injured. It's a fine balance.
Yeah, it definitely is. And what kind of mileage are you doing?
I'm not sure. I just know, from my training diary, I'm doing more than I have done over previous years. I don't run with a measuring or anything, so I just kind of go by hours and time. But I just know that it's kind of improving, and my sessions seem to be getting a bit faster, so it's all going in the right direction.
Do you have much to do with any of the other girls on the British team?
Well, most of us were on a training camp in December together in Lanzarote, so it's always good. It's nice to train with them, and we all get on pretty well. So it's when it comes to racing, I think your race head goes on, but everyone trains well together, and I keep in touch with everyone, and so most of them. So I think it's always a good atmosphere when we are together. There's nothing, there's no real big rivalries, and everyone's being awful to each other. So it's always pretty nice.
Who do you think are going to be the real top two contenders, apart from yourself? Obviously you're one of the main contenders for one of the Olympic spots, but who do you think will be the other two main contenders?
It's always funny, for the Olympics, I think people really raised their game. I mean, I don't think for 2008 anyone would have thought Holly and myself would have qualified looking at the previous year. So I'm not, at the moment, I'd say Vicky Holland's really improving, and she's got, she's in a really good environment and really happy and training well. Jodie Swallows has had a great string of results, and someone you can never count out. Someone like Holly, and then there's people like Liz Blatchford with all that experience as well. There's so many athletes out there. I think it's going to be I think we've got one of the hardest teams in the world to make, and especially on the men's side too.
And then this year is kind of really unlike any other year for you, well, apart from every 4 years when you're looking to qualify. But how does the pressure change? How do you feel? Do you kind of wake up every day and every session and you think this is about the Olympics, or are you just at the moment kind of actually just getting on with your training and treating it like any other year?
Yeah, I think I'm just getting on my training, treating it like every other year, but I think it's become more important to me, whereas even last year it still felt like 2012 was a long way off, Olympic selection was a long way off, but now I'm like, well, it's really is coming about, and I think it's gaining more importance to me. So I think I'll be pretty nervous by the time it comes around. But and you put a bit of pressure on yourself to qualify. But I think the main thing is to try and work with my team of people I've got around me who help me to get to get to the start lines fit and ready, and hopefully I can just, all you can do is your best in the end, and the end of the day. So I think I've just got to keep that in mind and just get through the training. But it's going to be hard to ignore the big spectacle that is London, and everyone wants to go.
I mean, it is, isn't it? It's a huge pressure for the British athletes. The fact that the Olympics is taking place in London, and that probably does change it a little bit, because the want and the need to be there must be massive as an athlete now at the top of their game.
I think it is, but I think it's really improved the standard in British triathlon. If you look, there's so many girls and guys in the British team who are just racing so well at the moment, and I think it is because everyone wants to go to London. They want to, so I think it's really raised the standard, which although it makes it harder to make the team, I think that's a good thing, because I think it means that we will have two really good men's and women's teams ready to race in London 2012, and I hope I'm in the team. So it'll be, but if I'm not in it, I think there will be, the people that are going to be there will have deserved it, because it's going to be really tough to make it.
You know the course so well, and the last 2 years you've raced so well there. I mean, I suppose that in itself probably puts a little bit of pressure, but on the other hand it takes it off, because you know the course and it suits you.
Yeah, for the past 2 years I probably would have made the Olympic selection, so this year I'm like, this is the year I've got to do it, so I hope I do. But I think I've got to take confidence in the fact the past 2 years I've managed to perform in those situations on that course, so I hope that I can just do the same this year, and I've got to use that experience I've had on the course. And it's a great venue. I mean, the atmosphere, I'm probably a bit biased because I've had 2 podiums there, but it's always been really good, and a really good crowd watching, and I'm looking forward to competing on the course and going down to Buckingham Palace. I think it's going to be amazing.
We're on the Speedo stand at the moment, so obviously equipment is very important to you, and you're sponsored by Speedo with the wetsuit, which is, they're quite new back into the sport, because they were around in the sort of early 90s and disappeared for a while, and they've come back. How are you finding the Speedo's wetsuit?
I'm finding it really good, actually. I raced in it last year, and I had like a 45-second lead out of London Tri, and that never happens to me. I was like, wow, this suit feels great, and I felt really good swimming in it all of last year. I had a really great swim at the World Champs final in Budapest and came out second with like a 10-second gap over the rest of the field. So I think, yeah, it's great just to feel confident in your wetsuit and comfortable in it, because I think as a stronger swimmer, I think it's always more to my advantage if it's a non-wetsuit swim, but it's great that if it's a wetsuit swim, I know that I've got something I feel comfortable and fast in.
Absolutely, and you are a very fast swimmer. It's lovely to talk to you, Helen. We won't keep you any longer because I know you're really busy here today, but good luck for the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thanks, Annie.